guys, for everybody in the room, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves here, and we'll have the ladies that come back down introduce themselves when they come back down. So you may not be able to hear what takes place, but let's start, Sandy, with you. Just tell us who you are and how long you've been in real estate.
I'm Sandy Bell. I've been in real estate for almost a year, but I've had some setbacks, so I kind of feel like I'm new.
There you go. Matt?
Matthew Beers, I've been in real estate for about a year now.
So that's 2 a year. Keep track of that.
I'm not, let's say, nothing in the 7
7 months. Joe?
Joe Wood.
7 months.
Tammy Irwin, a year.
A year. Lindsay?
Yeah.
About a year and a half. I'm Mark D'Andrea. I've been in real estate for about 33 years. Let's go, Sheila. Ladies? So, guys, we meet as leaders about every 2 weeks, and we are always discussing ways to improve the AMP platform to provide you, our team members, with more resources. And of late, so you guys get to introduce yourselves. So so Sheila, introduce yourself, who you are, and how long you've been in real estate. Great. Introduce. There you go. This year. Super.
I'm Andre Burnett. I've been licensed for 4 years. And part of AMP as well. And, you know, just like you guys are trying to learn as much as I can in both residential and commercial. That's all.
Great. Thank you. So back to our explanation of the leadership group. So of late, it's come to our attention as a result of the growth of the team that we would want to have a space, a link, a platform that all of you could go to as a resource center. Not the YouTube channel, right? That's videos. Not necessarily the AMP Facebook page. That's a nice place. Elias, how are you? You need to introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been in real estate, all.
Hey, my name is Elias Osborne. I've been in real estate going on, well, I started wholesaling in 2020, but got my license in 2023. January, so.
All right, so about a year and a half. So some place for you guys to all go to find all the videos that we shoot, all the documents that I share with each of you that support the process that we call AMP. And we think we've drilled it down to a particular platform called Circle. We're playing around with that template and that platform right now. So we will probably within the next couple of weeks announce that there is a link for you all to join. Gina and I and the rest of the team will figure out how to engage on that and introduce you to that. So it's interesting. I was speaking with Gina about it and stubbornly feeling like, well, we do a pretty good job disseminating information. We have 2 meetings a month on the 2nd and 4th Thursday. We have 4 Tuesday meetings. We have this meeting on Saturday mornings. I Zoom with about 50 of you. And that's, we are determining that's just not enough. A place for you to go to find a particular document that perhaps you haven't looked at in a while. The example would be perhaps the one that's in front of you. We'll get into that in a minute. So we're happy about that. We're proud of it. And we'll disseminate that link so that you can go there and start to explore and become a member of that platform. So that's the first announcement. Gina, do you have any input or feedback on that other than cheering and dancing at your office? Because was your
Oh,
idea?
I'm very excited about it. This is something I had explored previously when I owned a brokerage. And I just feel like it's even more than a place to store stuff and find stuff. It is a place to build community and to be able to get to know one another and to be able to interact. There is, in addition to the web version, there's also an app you can have on your phone. So you can basically have all the AMP leadership in your pocket and be able to access that. And it's really hard to explain everything that it can do, but I really feel like it would be kind of like going into an office every day and all of AMP being there. And the interaction and the energy we can get from being together in that way is replicated online. So it's going to be a very cool thing.
Appreciate that. Lisa, welcome to the call. Kelsey, welcome to the call. Any feedback from the room or on the call for that particular platform? Any ideas or things that you'd like to see there briefly? Or is that just enough? It's going to be cool. I wish I could show it to you.
Have a library of podcasts and books and different things for people to reference.
Mhm. Yeah, that'll be cool. So I'm excited about that. Appreciate the feedback that we've gotten of late from the agents to
Can you
have.
tell me what she said? Mark, can
a
you tell me
place-
what she said so I can write it down?
Yeah, a place to have podcasts and books and reference materials outside of AMP as well.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Got it.
Cool. Thank you for taking responsibility and charge of that, Gina. All right, let's talk about the agenda. So on the calendar, and I have my contacts in, so this is going to be tough for me to read. Mid-year recap, business sheets, what's working and goals for the balance of the year. Guys, we are midway through the year. And I'm getting tremendous feedback from dozens of you that you are on track for meeting your goals for the year, no matter what those are, whether it's 3 transactions or 12 or 18 or 20 plus. But it's a good time as a family and a team for us to talk about the adjustments that some of you might want to make. This stuff sounds very simple, and it feels almost like you're taking steps backwards. And I don't want that to be what's coming out of this particular part of the meeting. It is very wise as a business owner for you to reassess. So let's pick on somebody. Sheila.
Yeah.
Sheila, what was we're just giving some examples in the room, guys, of what we're talking about right now. What was your vision sheet or your goal for number of transactions and commissions on January 1st of this year?
742,000.
742,000. It is July 20th of 2024. If you don't mind disclosing, how close to that are you?
Probably 3/4 of the way.
On the money part. Okay, so I just picked on Sheila Howe in the room, and we're just doing an assessment of where she is for the year. Her goal at the beginning of the year, so 7 months ago, nearly 8, was 7 transactions and 42,000 in gross commissions. She has the 7 transactions, and she's about 3/4 of the way to the 42,000 in commissions. So midway through the year, she has met her transaction goal, not yet met her commissions goal. And so what type of adjustment do you think you're going to make based upon having met the 7 transactions? I know what I think. I want to know what you think.
So
I would do nothing other than what you're doing. So let me just give that away. Go ahead. Is there something to be said? Or are you happy?
I went back and I reforecasted based on what I was seeing.
Mhm.
So you had mentioned, readjusting, so I've already done that.
And what are your readjustment figures then for the year? The original figures were 7 and 42,000. Sheila has readjusted, and now they are.
So it was 17 transactions, but I had to bring that down and about 90,000.
Okay. So you down to 15, or you said you brought down the 17?
I brought it. About 15.
Okay.
You know, I was at 17, I'm like, that doesn't work.
So her adjustment midway through the year is to attempt to do 15 transactions and around 90,000 in commissions. Boy, I'd like to find somebody who'd be willing to say that they're not meeting their goals. Anybody gonna raise their hand? Woody and
Yeah.
Matt's gonna go ahead and share with us his vision in January and now his adjustment midway through the year. What was your vision in January?
So January, it was 56,700 in commissions, for 6 to 7 transactions. I
Nope.
completed 2 transactions at 10,465. I
So
don't,
let me update you. Matt was at 7 and 56.7 in commissions. He's completed 2 of those midway through the year, and now he's going to share with us whether or not he intends to make adjustments.
I don't plan to make any adjustments. I still think I can get to that 6 or 7 by the end of the year and meet that dollar mark based off.
The momentum?
Yep.
What's working for you?
Just talking to my sphere, making sure that, you know,
I
I am a realtor.
I have not
always-
paid him to say that.
Always make sure I make a point to bring up real estate whenever we're having conversations. It's amazing how many people are kind of thinking about moving or planning on moving in your
Sure
sphere.
is.
I do net to seller worksheets for them
Yeah.
and send it to them and just keep them updated on the market and let them, and just show them what they can make off their house potentially for the sale of it and things like that. So.
Super. Let me recap what Matt went over in the room, and then we will get into some of the concepts of you maybe making adjustments. Just to recap Matt's part of this conversation, his original goal was 56,700 in commissions and 7 transactions. To date, he has performed in 2 transactions. He has no intention of backing off of his 7 transaction goal because of the momentum he has going into the second half of the year. He feels strongly that he'll achieve those other 5 transactions. He mentioned that what is working for him is networking, imbuing his world with real estate is what we call it here, bringing up real estate in conversations that happen in his everyday life, providing some value to those that he engages in conversations with net to sellers, comparative market analysis, basically staying in touch and nurturing and continuing to communicate with those that he's already communicated with the first half of the year, because he senses and feels those folks are about ready for the timing to be right for them. So let's talk about, was that a hand coming up, Sheila? Okay. Let's talk about that basic concept. We have 2 lead generation systems that we're going to be pushing each of you harder and harder to engage in. Sheila Howe's Facebook forms and Justin Humphrey's geographic ads on Facebook. Both of those have to do with Facebook. Driving leads through that social media platform, those flow into your KV core. I mentioned Sheila Howe. She happens to be one of the folks that opened up early about how her year is going. And you note that she has her 7 transactions, so her goal is met. I would say that a part of that, and she'll correct me if I'm wrong very quickly, was because she was engaged in the Facebook Forms ad campaign early. Actually, it started last fall. So we do have lead generation systems that you can all avail yourselves of, and the training for those is available by the people who instigated them for our platform. I open up with that for this particular part of our training session and reevaluation session to juxtapose that to Sphere. There are several teams within the Red One umbrella as a brokerage. And their definition of a team is definitely that. And we have found that we're becoming somewhat of a feeder for those teams. Those teams are all fantastic. In fact, our leadership group is going to be involved in a wonderful session this coming Thursday to introduce ourselves as a platform. And the other team leaders will be in the room, and we'll be engaging with the whole of Red One. Whoever arrives at that particular meeting, they've all gotten an invitation, other agents. So we're very proud of the fact that by definition, this family is not considered a team by those other teams. We're considered a coaching and training and mentoring platform. We refer to ourselves as a big family. I think we're a team in the sense that we have fun when we get together. We certainly support each other. So the reason I bring that up is because of the significant difference between the AMP platform and the other teams is our ability, and we have statistical data to back this up. And we just gave you 2 examples quickly in the room of people who are achieving their vision in real estate by virtue of instigating those tools that we train on. This platform is designed to help you build your business in a manner that you're comfortable with. And it gives you the ability to sustain that business over time, no matter what's going on in the market. One of the examples that I use when we're talking about, y'all are familiar with the generic conversation that we train on. We call it the generic conversation. Matt was talking about it earlier. Dozens of people, after you find out that they find out you have your license, start to come to you and ask you, how's the market? How are you doing in real estate? And we talk about understanding some basic statistics about the real estate market that you can share during that conversation. And one of the things that I share when I'm role playing with agents is this. Last fall in November and December, well, let me start over. Last year, in any given month, there were about 2,400 houses available on the market. It floated back and forth from 1,850 up to 2,600. And I track it. I'm sure you all do. You've certainly been asked to on Monday and Friday. Just pull up your Flex system, click quick search, choose coming soon and active, and it'll tell you how many houses are on the market. We do it on Monday because it's after a weekend. And we do it on Friday because it's going into another weekend. So it gives you the best snapshot of the market. Last fall, if you didn't know, in November and December, that average of 2,400 spiked to 3,300. It was as high as 3,300 when I was checking it. And guys, that was at a time when interest rates were at 8 5/8, approaching 9%. The internet was lit up with that information, the national news. It was supposed to be the bane of real estate because interest rates were higher than they'd been in decades. And yet, more sellers put their home on the market during that period of time than any other time the previous year, when interest rates were lower. And more buyers bought those houses at 8 5/8. They're gone. There's now approximately 4,000 houses on the market. If I did the research, I don't imagine any of those houses that were on the market last November are still there. So you can envision in your mind that approximately 3,300 houses went off the market and were purchased at 8 5/8. So do interest rates drive our market? It's not the main driver. Does inventory drive our market? Probably not the main driver. I bring that up because it's important that you really hear the stories of Matt Veers and Sheila Howe and your own personal story. Think it through as we start to get into this document. Your business is based upon you building your real estate castle with your sphere, family, friends, folks you meet. And that sphere will pay off for you no matter what the interest rates are. That sphere will pay off for you no matter how many houses are on or not on the market. Different things drive people to buy and sell real estate, guys. We all know this. In the spring, which is the time of the year that we're all told is the best time of the year to put your house on the market. It's not because the weather has necessarily broken. That's part of it, right? Winter's over, so people are getting outside again. It's because everybody wants to have their home on the market and sold before summertime. What do we do in the summer? We go on vacation. And then when summer gets here, everybody who is using the goal of changing school systems that have kids are motivated to get into their new school system, or perhaps the same school system, just that set of elementary, middle, and high schools. And once the school year starts and comes and goes, you do have some leftover, right? If you, as a buyer of a home, provide your contract or perhaps a utility bill, you haven't moved in yet, but you've got a new address, you provide that to the school district, they'll let you register, even if it's late. Once that's over with, who doesn't want to be in their brand new home for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's? Everybody does. And then once that's over with, it becomes spring again. And let's add a little nuance to that, because that's what drives the market. Guys, people do get different jobs that take them out of state. They lose their job. They get divorced. They get a promotion. They want their mom and dad to move in with them because they're getting older. There are so many nuanced factors that drive our market that have nothing to do with the white noise of interest rates, and there's fewer houses on the market now than ever before or more. Keep that in mind because it has everything to do with your sphere. Everything to do with when the time is right for somebody that you've been communicating with for days, weeks, months, or years to call you up because you become top of mind and top of consciousness for them, and it's time for them to move, and you're the person they're selecting. And that is very sustainable. The larger that group of people that you're staying in touch with gets, the more I go, Sheila. You see that? Somebody's chatting to you. Go, Sheila. The larger that group of people that you are communicating with in the various ways you're able to, growing trust with, nurturing, influencing, providing nets to seller and CMAs and a connection to a home warranty company. And Elias, you could call Elias today and he could give you a referral to an electrician, a plumber, a contractor, a handyman, a landscaper, a roofer. Could you not? Real easy. So could Muhammad. The rest of us are building those lists, right? Becoming more comfortable with being able to be what you and I consider the anything home real estate for your families, friends, and clients. So now that I went off on that little path, let's come back to your vision sheet. Guys, if you have not met, for whatever reason, your vision that you set in place in January of 2024, we actually did them back in November, and we'll do them again this year for 2025. You don't wait for January 1st to put your vision together for 2025. We'll go over this again in October and November and set ourselves up for finishing the year strong and leaping into 2025. But if you're not there, if your goal was 4 or 8 or 10 or 17 and for 2024 and you're not there midway through, reassess. Reassess for 2 reasons. One, why in the world do you want to wake up on December 31st and it's going to be New Year's any minute and you're going to be wanting to celebrate and beat yourself up for not having achieved the goal you set up 12 months ago? Why do that? Why keep the same goal in place that you're not going to hit? Give yourself a break. Reassess now. Reassess now and give yourself something that's achievable based upon where you are right now. It's July 20th. What's changed between January 1st and July 20th? Have you learned more that you should, would, or could be deploying as it relates to these tools that we train on? Have you learned more since January? If you've been here since January, are you moving in the right direction? Were we perhaps just a little bit too aggressive when we tried to set ourselves up for 8 transactions in 2024 and you have 2 so far? Maybe you don't have the momentum that Matt has and the confidence to reach that 8. Reassess it. Give yourself a break. That's number 1. Number 2, assess why. Why aren't I halfway there? Is it something that AMP isn't providing for me? Is it something that I'm not taking action on? Am I lying to myself? Am I fooling myself? Has life handed me things that have just taken me off track? That could be a part of it, right? We've all got family, faith, even if it's in yourself. You've got a social life, and many of you may have work outside of real estate. You know, I was talking to Carly Stauffer and Dana Kitchen yesterday or 2 days ago. And we were talking about the schedule that we all keep. And I was sharing with them that of these 50 Zooms that I do a week, I get declinations, those get declined a lot. And it's never for a disappointing reason to me. The agents feel badly. Every time they email me or decline or text, they're bothered and upset that we couldn't get together. It's always for good reason. Got to run my kids here. I have showings. I'm working with a client, right? Something's come up. If it's not that, ask yourself why it is. Talk with us as your leaders and share with us what it is that you have not been able to yet grasp that has not allowed you to get halfway to your goal in 2024. So why is that happening? And reassess so that by the time the 31st rolls around, this reassessment that you're doing today, you can meet that goal. And never, 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 Winston Churchill said, change this. You can augment it. Dana Kitchen's vision sheet, I wish she were on the call. She could share it with us. She put all kinds of stuff around here. I was talking to an AMP agent yesterday. They've got a vision board. In the very center of their vision board is their vision sheet. And then they've got the documents that are surrounding what we're training on right now. So they can look up at them as I'm training them through buyer and seller conversations and dot loop and MLS and the other things. And in the middle, they have a picture of something that is impressive to them. Make a vision board if you need to. Never change anything home. Guys, wrap your head around the fact that it is your job as a real estate business owner to be the anything home agent for the folks you're connected with. Now, is there any question about that or pushback or anything that doesn't make sense about it? I don't want to be talking the entire 2 hours. Lindsay, how do you feel about well, I'll just ask you. Yes. Are you halfway to your goals? Okay. How are you feeling about that? Let's just talk about anything home. Is it something that you can wrap your head around, or is there something we should change about? Does it make sense? See, I didn't hammer you too much. That was easy. You know, people gather in this room, and Sheila always sits in the same place. It's interesting. Folks sit in the back, folks sit in the front. It's like being in class. I love it. Takes me back to high school. So I can keep doing this. Yeah. Okay. Guys, any questions or feedback? Mark, Gina, Woody, anybody else in the Sheila, anybody else in the room? Is anything about reassessing right now not make sense? Any feedback from the folks on the call? Lisa, Kelsey, Victor, you just got started. I won't pick on you. All right. We shall move on.
I would just add that famous quote that I don't know who said it, but if you aim at nothing, you shall surely hit it.
That is for darn sure.
So, if you didn't set goals or you're not meeting your goals, start over. It's July, you're halfway through the year. Maybe you need to bring it down a little bit. Instead of 7, you go for 2. But if you don't make a goal at all, you're going to end up at the end of the year and you're going to be like, what did I do that was even worthwhile? And you're going to be disillusioned. So make a goal and work towards it.
And to dovetail on that, thank you, Gina. To dovetail on that, engage with your leaders, man. I mean, there's 6 of us. Engage with us.
There's 7 of us.
7 of us. I can't even count. One of us can't count. So don't trust that guy.
Front and center, because it's easy to say, well, we're through the spring, how am I gonna make my numbers? And there's still a lot of transactions.
Sheila brought up the point that there's still a lot of transactions to be had after you go through the spring. So let's just hammer that home right now. I do not recall a November or December of any year for the last 33 years that I didn't have closings, and neither should you. As you get into your business, there shouldn't be a time of the year that your sphere isn't paying off for you. Now, I didn't just say that you shouldn't relax during Christmas or New Year's, right? Because that's really what happens to the market, by the way. Buyers and sellers don't go away in January and in December and February. In fact, anybody that's out there looking for houses with 12 inches of snow on the ground as a buyer, that's a buyer. And anybody who's willing to move in the wintertime, that's a seller. We're tracking the number of houses on the market. Do you think it's going to go up or down in December and January from the 4,000 that it's sitting at right now? I'll bet you it's closer to 5. I'll bet you it keeps climbing and it gets between the mid 4s and 5, even though it's December and January. I'd love to bet somebody and then be wrong and pay off, but I bet it's going to happen. So Sheila, your point is well taken. Spring is not the only time of the year that you and I should be engaging with buyers and sellers. It makes no sense. They're not anticipating again, I hate to be maudlin, but they're not anticipating the job transfer, the job loss, the divorce, the parents needing to come into their home. These are timing issues that they have no control over. But if you're the person that's top of mind and top of consciousness, you're the text, you're the email, you're the phone that's going to light up. That's what drives the market. When we stay in touch with folks, when we show that we care about them, that we want to assist them at other times of their anything home experience that have nothing to do with buying or selling it. That doesn't mean that I don't love, I use this rarely, selling homes. I really love assisting people to buy them, but I love it when somebody asks me to list their home or sell their home. It never gets old, does it, Mohammed? Because you've been busy lately, so is Woody, so have other people in the room. Elias is busy certainly with his wholesaling piece, and we're starting to get on that traditional business piece. Right? So, next thing. Okay. We're absolutely going to pick on people in the room. Mohammed, what is working for you in your business right now? And I would love it if you could dovetail it with something that's on this, but even if it's not on this, tell us what's working.
So, what's working for me definitely is, paying for. As soon as I have, the full legal name, phone number, email of a potential lead, I immediately add it.
So let's take this step by step. So what Mohammed is saying, and he's very busy, by the way. Mohammed's very busy.
Very busy.
Well, I'm going to say you're very busy. Mohammed is busy. And he said what's working for him is when he connects with someone, no matter how tenuous that connection is. he gets the data that he needs, name, cell phone number, and email address. It immediately goes into KV Core. And that allows him to start that communication and growing trust process. So what else is working? Or is that it for now?
So, social media posts. So I've been using Canva to design, and also use templates that Red One provides. And templates from other sources to, make professional flashy posts.
Yeah.
If something's under contract, if something just sold, even if it's something that is not really a big deal,
Mm,
I'll make it seem like it's a big deal
sure.
because of perception.
Yeah, let me synopsize. Mohammed is blowing up his social media platform with posts that he creates with Canva, Red One templates. So again, he's growing this footprint of his. I'm going to try to find something that'll make this come home to you. There it is. So there's the racetrack we're all on, guys. Whether or not you like it, you stepped onto this track when you agreed to join AMP. And what Mohammed has just emoted to the room, and I'm emoting to you, is he is using this platform, let's just call it his social media platform, and his KV Core to fill his pipeline. He's in a race car, or he's on a horse, or whatever he's doing, he's going around this racetrack this way. Let's allow that to be the end of that. If you don't mind, I'm going to move on. Nobody gets off the hook. Question for the room, for Mohammed. The question in the room is, what happens when Mohammed has those 3 bits of information and he puts them in KV Core? How is he pursuing that person?
So I don't put them on a campaign because I want to control.
Yeah.
I really need to pay you.
Keep them out of the sphere. So, but I have them on there, and all I need to do is put in notes. Okay, where did I get them from? What are they looking to get? When are they ready to get? Are they pre-qualified? Are they working on it? Things that I need to know for to remember who they are, how they got to me. And so I know what's the next step. What do I gotta do?
So you heard the question. The answer was he identifies them because you got new lead, prospect, sphere. There's a couple others in KV Core, right? You can tag somebody a particular thing. Mohammed immediately makes everybody a renter and sphere. Now he could make them a prospect if he chose to put all these particular initial contacts that you could choose another tag that you're comfortable with. And then I'm going to speak for him and pray that this is what he does, because Sheila taught me this. He pins a note to the top of their client journey about where he met them, how he engaged with them, and what he's going to do next. So it reminds him constantly of, this is where this whole conversation started. What are my next steps with these people? Are they pre-qualified? He puts that note there, and you can pin that note to the top of your KV Core, and it shows up at the top. No matter what else is going on, that note is always at the top, so you know what you did last. He said he doesn't put them on an auto campaign, and I know that hurts Sheila, and it hurts me a little bit. We would suggest, if you have the information about what they're interested in, let's just say it's Grove City or Hilliard or Reynoldsburg, they've mentioned it, it might be wise to put them on a market report and a property alert for those cities, because those particular auto alerts are controlled by you. You're the one curating them. And they do have a very high open rate. So that's another step. So we'll get, great question. Thank you for the answer. Nobody gets off the hook. What have you learned in the last couple of months that's helpful? And what would you have liked to have learned that maybe you haven't? Let's do a critique and hey, this is the cool stuff. Now here's the stuff you stink at. This is Michelle talking to all of us.
Make it like a daily task, real estate, like a day-to-day, I gotta focus on it. Before before I didn't do that. I just did it whenever I felt like it or when I felt like I had time.
Yeah.
But now, it's actually like my focus every single day. And I realized like how beneficial that's been for me. And I network a lot more now. And I'm usually like an introvert and I'm a homebody. But now I start going to like different events and things like that. And just like, speaking up and talking to people and like you said, let me know how knowledgeable I am about real estate. And
Yep.
things like that. And it's still working for me.
Okay.
Like in fact, the two contracts I have now came from me driving Lyft, a Lyft package.
Two months,
Yeah.
about 2 months in real estate. So Michelle has 2 transactions. She's been around for 2 months, and what she learned initially is time management. That now that she's running a real estate business, she can't be willy-nilly about the focus she has on the tools that she's being coached and trained and mentored on. They have to be on a daily task list. She has to hold herself accountable for doing those. She's also imbuing her world more because she also mentioned networking, which is down there somewhere. I just can't read it because I have my contacts on. So a lot of networking, a lot of talking about real estate and managing her time more effectively. Thank you, Michelle. Lindsay, what's working? And what would you say that we should teach you more about?
Definitely, like you said, taking those opportunities to talk about it. Like I am a nurse full-time, so middle of the week, even from my patients, I'll talk about it with. So I don't like advertise it, but if it happens to come up in conversation.
I know you're not feeling well right now, but let's chat about buying it.
But they will bring it up. If they bring that up as well, then it just heavily goes into that. And then I never advertise myself. If they say, hey, can you get your information? I'll say yes.
Yes. Lindsay's a full, remember we talk about family, faith, social life, and work. Lindsay's a full-time nurse. And so she is imbuing her world a little bit more with real estate at work and networking more and certainly talking to people more. What could we do differently to help you? Is there anything right now?
No, I don't think leadership.
Yeah. All right. I've picked on about everybody. I'm going to go to Tammy and then we'll be done in the room. Tammy, what's working?
For me, it's networking is since with the fall and just going to friend reunions, parties, festivals, and seeing friends I haven't seen in like a year. And that has worked, especially at the beginning of the year for my first 2 transactions. My thing is I do have a retail job that I've actually picked up more hours in the last month. And so I do talk about it like Lindsay
At work.
And friends that I see that come in and see that I work there, then I have the opportunity to tell them I'm also marketer of
Real estate services.
But for me, it's also time. Like I feel like 1 week I'm really good, and then the next week I'm like, all over the place.
Tammy's bringing up time management being critical to her, and she needs to work on that and networking. She's talking more about real estate. Is it for Lindsay and Michelle and Tammy, for you, is it because you have gained some confidence to talk about real estate? Why do you talk about it? You're an introvert. Yeah, why would you talk about it ever? Okay. Lisa Smith, do you mind if I pick on you and you tell me what's working for you right now and what isn't and how we could improve this platform? If you're there. Kelsey? Somebody on the phone, pipe up and tell me what's working. Don't care who. Coach?
Hi, Mark. This is Nara.
Yes.
Actually for me, I'm working on the referrals actually, like some of my networking friends who sphere they're referring me and I'm getting some referrals, but some of the transactions are not working for me. Unfortunately, I tried to submit a lot of offers, but some of them didn't work. And I always thank you and Mark Hutchison also for all your help and your mentorship and all. you are always there, and I need to improve myself more on the networking side and the marketing side more, so that I put more of my self on the social media posts and all. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hopefully, I'll try to do this year, and hopefully I'll try to work on that one and improve myself on that one and try to do more transactions. Okay.
Thank you, Narda. Anybody else on the call? What's working? Type up.
This is Kelsey.
Hi, Kelsey. What's working?
Well, my networking is working. I'm involved in a lot of like groups and things, and I see a lot of people. So I think that is helping.
Is there anything we could do better for you to assist you with that?
Yeah, I feel like I get nervous when people start talking about real estate and then they get real particular about what the interest rates are, or like for instance, at the last open house I did, a man came and he said, okay, well, I have a house that I want to sell, but I want to buy another house. Do you suggest buying a new house first and then listing your old house, or listing your old house and then buying a new house? I don't know. I feel like I'm good at like meeting people and talking to people, and then when it starts to get specific, sometimes I get nervous.
Okay. Let's talk about that particular answer, just so everybody hears it right now. When you're in what I would call, that's a seller conversation. The answer to that gentleman is, well, you've got, what was his name? Do you remember?
No, I have it
Okay.
written down, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Bill, you've got three options when it comes to purchasing a new home and you have a house to sell. The first one is, and our team has assisted hundreds of people to do this, we could go out and start making offers on homes contingent upon your current home selling. Now, Bill, that might make our offers a little bit less aggressive than other offers from other buyers for that same house, because they may not have a house to sell, but we've been successful in doing that. So your offer is contingent upon your current home selling. And we would be running down those two tracks at the same time. I could set up a search for you based upon the criteria for your new home. And we could be starting to tour those and see if we start to see stuff that we love. While we're going through the process of listing your current home, we don't have to take that live until you're in contract on your next home if it's contingent upon your current home selling. That's an option, Bill, where you just move out of your current home and move into your new home. We've done that for dozens and dozens and dozens of people. That's an option. The other option, Bill, is you could check with your favorite lender, your current lender, or I have referrals to lenders that I trust. You could do a bridge loan, use some of the equity in your current home and purchase your next home with that equity. And then that next home would not be contingent upon your current home selling, but we would certainly sell and close on your current home in time for you not have to worry about having a couple of house payments. We've done that dozens and dozens and dozens of times for clients. So that's an option. The third option is, Bill, do you have someplace you could live temporarily? We could list, put in contract and close on your current home while we're looking for your new home. And if we don't find it in time, if you've got someplace to go, that's an option for a couple weeks or 30 days. Those are your three options, Bill. Whichever one's most comfortable for you, I can make that happen. That is all the truth. Those are the options, and that's the answer. And another answer is this, Kelsey, when you find yourself in those situations, there is not going to be a situation where we want AMP agents to feel that discomfort. I understand it completely because I remember it. But if you don't have the answer right off the top of your head, and we'll send out this video, you all can start practicing that as being the answer to that particular question. Bill, you know, I haven't heard that particular question prior. So you're being truthful. But I'm on a team with over 60 years of experience, and I'll have the answer back to you within an hour. And you can make that promise, and this leadership group will deliver. Because one of us will be on the phone and available with you and give you the answer. And then you can call Bill back. Say, Bill, here are your 3 options. I promise you that this leadership team is available enough to give you an answer within an hour. There's 7 of us. I got it right that time. Lisa, let's just end with another couple, Lisa or Carla or somebody else. What's working? I'm hearing networking, KV Core, social media, time blocking, having conversations, bringing up real estate more. What's working for you, Lisa? I saw you briefly. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. What you just said about when you come across a question and you tell someone, you know, you've got a whole team behind you with 60+ years, it is very comforting and they really appreciate it. And they know that I have a lot of resources to pull from when I have a question.
Perfect. And how are things going for you right now? Are you reassessing your vision sheet for the year? Are you on track? Now that I have you, I'll pick on you.
Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
I'm on track with transactions. I'm about halfway there, or I am halfway there, but a little less on, or a little more on the commission side. So about 2/3 of the way there with commission.
Okay, congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Carla, we'll end this part of the presentation with you. What's working, Carla? If you're still there. Maybe not. Mindy,
Yes, I'm
what's working?
sorry. Hi.
Carla, what's working?
What's working for me is nurturing buyer clients for their creditworthiness and financial stability.
Yes. Being of assistance in a manner that allows you to help them go down that pre-qualification route so that then they end up using you to, of course, purchase their home when they're ready.
And truly finding the right program, because there are so many different programs out there. And for the last person, maybe that was Lisa, whoever spoke about that seller, I would add that there's also for those sellers the cash to keys option.
Through Scott Vocal.
Yes.
Guys, we have tremendous lenders to back us up. Motto Mortgage, Annie Mac, UCM. I mean, you're a resource for your buying clients. And it also gives you some more strength within any transaction you're going to enter into. Think about the people that we rely upon in a transaction. We're the hub. Like it or not, it all starts with you. You engage with 2 or 3 lenders that you can trust, that you can hand somebody off to. That becomes another person on your team that will keep that buying client moving down the tracks towards a purchase. Engage with your lenders, get to know them, meet with them, have coffee, learn a little bit more about financing. What does debt to income mean? What are the 2 or 3 things that you use to pre-qualify a potential buyer? Credit score, debt to income, right? So learn a little bit more about that. You've got the time to do it. It's a phone call. It's a coffee chat. It's a beer. It's whatever it is you meet them here at the office. Do the same thing with title. Carly Stauffer and the girls are here every day. Set up a time to meet with Carly. We should all be engaged with Carly on geofarming. For sure. If you're going to geofarm, that's your girl. So thank you all for that input. I appreciate it. It sounds like the tools that you're being coached and trained and mentored upon on a fairly consistent basis are starting to pay off for all of you. Whether you've been in it 2 months or a year. So thank you for that. So let's go back down here so I can read this. No, don't want that. Any other comments or input? Mark Hutchison, you got anything?
I have a question.
Yeah, there's a question in the room. Sorry, Mark. No, but Scott Vocal can. He's your expert. Do you need his number? Yeah, I'll get it to you right now. The question in the room was, can you explain to me the cash to keys option? And my honest answer was no, but Scott Vocal can. And he would love to meet with you about that program. He loves it. If I could spell. Share contact. Messages. Hang in there, guys.
I'll make a comment while you're working there, Mark. If it's okay.
Yep.
So I was working with an agent here this last few days, and he's actually starting to get really busy. So you guys, that's a good thing. But he's starting to freak out a little bit because he has like 3 properties got in contract this week. He got a new listing. He's got a couple listings that are sitting. And so he's got like 5 or 6 transactions going on at the same time. And he's only been licensed a year or so. And he's starting to freak out a little bit. And he's like, oh, I forgot to do this. I forgot to do that. So I encouraged him, and I would encourage you, even if you're not that busy yet, start to develop a system. So like make trigger points in your process. So maybe your trigger point would be, okay, I got a house in contract. What do I do now? Make yourself a cheat sheet, and we have resources available for you to do this. You know, it could be like contact the title company. AMP timeline. Yeah. So there is a resource available. I wonder where we could find that. Oh, we'll figure that out. You know, so make yourself a checklist. Every time you get a property in contract, you do these 12 things in this order every single time. And then it won't matter if you've got 1 property in contract or 10 properties in contract. You will know exactly what you've done, exactly when to do it, and you'll be able to keep the engine going, because you don't want to get so tied up with those 2 or 3 transactions that you're trying to nurture through that you forget to fill your pipeline for the next 3 months. So making yourself checklists, making yourself a process, a system for every single thing you do will make you efficient enough that you can handle a bunch of stuff at once, because that's going to be the make or break for you. So most agents can handle a couple of deals at once, but how many agents can handle 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 deals at a time? And guys, that's where you make the big money. That's where you make the life-changing money. And the only way to handle all that, I see your hand there, Mark D. The only way to handle all that is with a systemized approach to everything you do.
You know,
Done.
that's a great point. Guys, it's on your screen right now. And we may not up until today have done a good enough job of helping you all understand that every resource is available to you to help you when you get into that circumstance. And here it is. You get under contract, it's step by step. There's nothing that you can miss if you just follow this AMP timeline. So we have the answer, and Gina makes a great point. Here, let me dovetail with it, and then we'll move on. What does happen with folks, and it was in that conversation that Gina just had with all of you, and you've all experienced it for sure. You'll get a person or 2 in contract. You're following your AMP timeline. It's going effortlessly. And then we forget, get busy. We're excited. We start to count the commission. It's all human nature stuff. And we perhaps forgot what got us the transaction to begin with. So if I could put a fine point on what Gina just shared with you, it is having these processes in place that frankly have to do with focusing on this while you have people in contract. Because you deploy tools in your business, KB Core, the MLS, .loop, your social media platforms, geo farming, networking, all these tools are deployed. And when you engage with them on a consistent basis, you can guys, you can picture this in your head. You know, you have somebody in contract. Well, what happened 30 or 45 days ago that made that happen? You did something to make that happen. It's that something that you must not forget to do consistently. Because you will wake up after those closings take place and then put your hands up and say, now what do I do? Well, there's no question what you should do every day or every week or every month when you've time blocked the time to do it. And that is to engage in the marketing of real estate services, to practice back-end marketing, to never allow your sphere to forget about you, because they will if you forget. You take action marketing yourself as a marketer of real estate services, it will produce a transaction. So just think about that when you have people in transaction and have a process in place that does not allow you to forget what got you that transaction. So next thing, I'm going to leave this while we talk about your goals for the balance of the year. So let's just real quick go around the room. How many would you like? Let's just be real salesy for a minute, guys. How many transactions from now to December 31st? How many more? Yep.
So far, would like to 12 more.
12 more. So your vision sheet will say that. Michelle, how many more transactions for the balance of the year? Yeah. 3 more, because you're on track for that. And you'd like to do more. Wouldn't we all? Lindsay, balance of the year, how many? I got 12, 3, and 3. Woody? 5. 12, 3, 3, 5. Tammy? 3. Sheila? 7. 12, 3, 3, 3, 5, 7. Elias? 6. Sandy?
2.
2. Matt? 4. Emma? 4. 4. On the call, Mark, how many more transactions from now to the end of the year would you like to do?
3.
Gina? 4. Carla?
5.
5. Victor?
2.
Lisa?
3.
Narda?
5.
Nathan?
I'm gonna include the off-market stuff, so 8.
8. Love it. Les?
4.
Michelle? Shriver? Mint?
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Balance of the
I'm
year.
just laughing
Ready?
because at least 2 more.
2. Mindy?
I would love to do 3 more.
Coach? You there, Coach? Victor Ramos? Kelsey?
4 more.
I got an average there of like 6, probably about 6. Guys, if everybody on this call in this room, on average, does 6, just do what you said just now. Change your vision sheet, focus on what you just said. If you're on track, don't change your vision sheet, beat it. Here's how you're going to do that. You're going to fully recognize and wrap your head around what we call PTAC. Do it today. You all have this racetrack. Pipeline, transactions, and after closing. That's what PTAC stands for. Put this in your head right now. The tools that you're being trained will allow your business to flow into what you will call PTAC in your future. It's either in your near future or distant future. It really doesn't matter. Of the time that you spend in real estate, keeping in mind that we've all got family, faith, even if it's in ourselves, social life, and work outside of real estate. Nurse, I've got a nurse in the room. Michelle, what do you do? Real estate. Tammy, retail. Ama, real estate. Matt?
Military.
Military. Sandy? Counselor. Elias, wholesaler. And personal trainer. If you couldn't tell when he walked in, he's a personal trainer. Matt's probably one too. Muhammad, Yeah, home health. Muhammad is busy as all get out in home health. So family, faith, social life, and work outside of real estate. This is your business, team. Of the time you spend in real estate and effort, 60% of that effort and time should be spent filling your pipeline with future transactions. 10% of your effort. Now, Gina brought up a guy that's busy as all get out. And we will get him to the point where getting through a transaction is effortless. Yes, we get thrown curveballs left and right. I speak to dozens of you weekly that have a transaction and it's going sideways here or sideways there. We get it. It's the part of our business that the public will never understand. You show up, you write a contract, it goes into contract, and then you show up at close and you get paid. You drive a nice car and you make a lot of money. That's not real estate. Real estate's hard work. Transactions are effortless. 10% of your effort, 30% of your effort should be staying in touch with those that you've already closed with. And we have automated ways to do that in KV Core. So that's 100% of your effort and time in real estate. Pipeline transactions closed. Where all that effort goes or is deployed or the time spent is in all of your social media profiles and platforms. This is a database. It is a place that your potential clients and past clients rest within. It's a platform. How many of you have heard me often say, Facebook is a database? It's fun. I love posting pictures of my horses. It's a blast to post pictures of my grandchildren and everything else. But Facebook for us is a database. When you have someone in a transaction, they're certainly in the MLS, because if you have an auto search going, they're sitting in there. If they're in a transaction, they're sitting in .loop. 2 more platforms you need to be familiar with, know how to use them. And then, of course, your KV Core, your database of choice. We have 2 or 3 agents. Their database is their phone. I can't get them to use another database. Fine. About your database. It's actually not fine, but fine. And we feed that KV Core with the type of marketing we're doing, with folks that are responding to our Geo Farm, with the conversations we're having with people, by doing open houses and networking. And our KV Core grows and grows and grows and grows, and we influence and nurture more and more people over time. So you have, if you count it as one platform, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 platforms. This is where your business resides. There are closed clients and future clients in your social media. There are clients in a transaction in these 2 platforms, MLS and .loop. And there are closed clients and future clients in your KV Core. And those create more pipeline and more transactions and more closed clients. And then you find yourself one day walking. Nobody should be crawling, walking, running on this track. Now, what's the difference between walking and running on this track? It is not the engagement with these platforms. That's not the difference. The difference is this. You're going to fall into one of 3 categories as an agent. You can't avoid it. We all do. And we've researched this. You'll do one day between 1 and 9 transactions. The average is 8. Why? Because your family, your faith, and your social life and work outside of real estate, running a gym, right? Being in the military, being a nurse, will prevent you from doing more than that. Gina said it earlier. This guy is busy, 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 busy. Life's going to hand him his little packages, and he'll only be as busy as life allows him to be. And then the next one is 10 to 19. The average is 14. You continue to do this, and you wake up one day and your business is just spitting out 14 transactions a year like it's nobody's business. It feels magical. See ya. Lindsay's leaving. Say goodbye to Lindsay. You're fine. You'll be a 20 pluser. Right? If it's all real estate all the time, your family, faith, and social life allows you to, you'll just do 20 transactions a year and just spit them out. That's where you'll be. And no matter whether you're 8, 14, or 20 plus, where else do your clients reside? In the future, where do they reside other than those 4 platforms? Am I missing something? Are we as leaders missing something on this track? If we are, tell us now, we'll add it. This is your life in real estate. So when we talk about your goals, the last part of the agenda here, goals for the balance of the year. Guys, your goals for the balance of the year should be to focus on this racetrack. Focus on filling your social media platforms with folks that are potential clients, family members, friends, people you meet. Focus on learning how to engage with the MLS. Every platform has a lot of shiny tools. You open up the MLS on any given day. Let's just open it up real quick. Give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Next. Move the toolbar, sign in. Guys, I love the MLS. I do. But when this screen opens, do you think I spend a whole lot of time on these links? If I can't get an answer to a question about the Columbus MLS directly from them by emailing them, or Mike Hall, or Ken Fairchild, or Bob Petty, or Michelle Brooks, way more quickly than reading through what in the world this is. I'm not disparaging what's there. I'm just telling you I don't pay attention to it. If I know the agent who's passed away, because I've been doing this forever, yes, my wife and I will send them flowers, but I don't pay too much attention to that. I'm sorry, I don't go to the MLS for these things. I could care less about the award system. If you do, please stay in touch with that so that they can recognize you at their banquet and get your $1 million, get your 5 million. I love it. Put it on your business card. The training that they have here, ours is better. Why would you worry about the hot sheet? Now, Gina is going to push back on all this stuff, but I'll give her a chance to talk in a minute. Why do I care about the hot sheet, which is a synopsis? It's a snapshot of the market when I can go right here on quick search and then click coming soon and active. And at any given time, if I get into a conversation with any particular buyer or seller, I can tell them there's approximately 4,000 houses on the market right now. And we only have certain buttons up here that we want to use repeatedly. You can get those, light them up or unlight them by clicking on the menu. The MLS has a lot of shiny tools, guys. I use it to set up auto searches, do comparative market analysis, and find out how many houses are on the market. You know, if you have pushback to that, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I'm pretty much the same, and I just go find what I need.
There you go. Dotloop. Dotloop is a data collecting platform. Yes, it's wonderful. We can do listing loops and sales loops. And when we get really good at knowing how to deal with Dotloop, it's a slick tool. I love it. But it's got a lot of shiny tools, reporting, tasks, people, templates are good. People, task, and reporting. You all see this when it shows up on your Dotloop. It says notification 7. It's in red for a reason. It really wants you to be upset about it. And I click on it and then I mark all red without reading a single one of them. Because all that is something you've already done. It's just telling you, you did this. You engaged. So I don't pay attention to the shiny tools. I don't want .loop tracking my business. I could care less what it thinks about me. So guys, when we engage with these tools, use them for what they help you with most and ignore the shiny little tools on MLS and .loop. KV Core is not a difficult platform. This team has gotten over that. We really have. When we first started AMP KV Core, man, it's difficult. It's weird. It acts funny. It's not tough. Name, address, cell phone number. If they're a homeowner, their home address, and get to know them well enough to get their birth date and run contact validation. And if all your contacts in KV Core are fully scrubbed, like I just mentioned, and it's on your checklist, so you know, I don't have to repeat that, you can automatically connect with them through an anniversary greeting on the date they closed, their birth date. You should all be sending a newsletter to everybody on your KV Core every month. Don't miss a month. You can learn how to do a newsletter through Justin Humphreys. He has the best newsletter on the team, my opinion. He'll teach you how to send out a newsletter. And we're all training on holiday emails is what we call them. Associating a holiday with a service that you could offer to a client. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 automatic ways, not counting property reports and market reports and property alerts. KV Core is valuable. Use it for what we just emoted to you. There's other things, I'm sure. There are people on this team that are so much better with KV Core than I am. It's unbelievable. Get with them. Justin is good at it. Scott Hoffman's good at it. Gina Warner's probably good at it. But that's what you should, at a minimum, that's what you should be using KV Core for. Sharing Red One listings that aren't yours from your KV Core onto Facebook. Grow your footprint on social media. Mohammed's doing it like crazy. Those aren't all his listings that he's bragging about on social media. There are other Red One listings. List reports is really cool. So anyway, platforms, these 4. That's where your business goes. That's what I want you focused on. That's what the leadership team wants you focused on for the balance of this year. Please focus on this racetrack.
I had a comment about .loop.
Sure.
So can you show us your screen again for .loop?
Yep.
So one thing that frustrates me about .loop, yeah, I love it. It's great and all that. But one thing that can be frustrating is you can end up with multiple loops for the same property. And what I do, and I know there may be other ways to deal with this, and I would love to learn about them. But what I do is something that I see, it looks like Mark probably did here, the estate of Joshua J. Horn sale. So he's identified his loop with the name of his client and then added the property address. That way, when other agents make offers through .loop on his .loop and they send you a loop that they created for your listing, you will end up with multiple loops with the same address. But Mark will always know which one he created, which one has his clients in it, because he labeled it with the client's name in addition to the address. So that's how I always do mine too, because when I go searching, it's especially bad with listings. It's not as bad with your buyers, but it's really bad with listings, because when you have a listing and you get 20 offers on that listing, you may end up with 20 loops with the same property address. And that's a nightmare. So if there's a better way to deal with it, I would love to hear about it, but that's what I do.
Let me synopsize what Gina just said, and she's absolutely right. So in our training, I don't want to make this about .loop training. In our training with AMP agents, both the leadership and I train it the same way. You create a listing loop, you have your client execute those documents, you submit them to admin for review, and your listing loop is the only loop for that listing that you should be working within. And when you get these other offers that come to you through .loop, of course, you send them all to your client and then have your discussion with your client. And the one that you're going to accept, those documents in full get downloaded to your computer and added to the sales folder of your listing loop. I'm gonna see if Smith Street is a good example. It should be, yeah. This is just a practice. The guy, here's my listing folder. These are all the documents that got generated by .loop when I started this listing. This is where your accepted offer goes. It's called your sales folder in your listing. I do not want to work in another agent's shared .loop folder. I want to extract all the important information out of it, the accepted offer, the one we're going to accept, put it in my sales folder, send it to my client by executing all the initials in places they're supposed to sign, get it back from them. Now the accepted offer is in my sales folder under my listing, and I submit it for review. Everything's in one place. All the other offers that are there, they stay there until the house closes, because you never know. So they stay there. And after that, they get archived. Guys, there's a filter on here that allows you to archive anything you don't want. It's right there. Hide
Just
archive.
FYI, if you prefer, you can actually copy directly from one loop to another loop.
Yes, you can select all those documents or the one you want to hit copy to, and then select your listing loop, and they'll all copy there as well. Yes, you can do that too. But always work in your loop. With a sales folder, when you're up dealing with a buyer, it's not like that. So we will train you on how to work in .loop efficiently, gladly, because it's one of the important things on your racetrack. Understanding .loop. So if I had a goal to set for all of you, I want to say it one more time because I am pedantic if I am nothing else. This is your goal for the rest of the year. Get comfortable with understanding PTech, that you're on this track. There's nothing confusing about this. Dana Kitchen put this together. Thank you, Dana. I know you're not on the call, but we sent this out to all of you. And yes, all of these documents are eventually going to be available on one platform, so you can go reference them and download them and do your thing with them. Anything else? We've gone over where you are now as it relates to your goal set in January. Am I there? Am I not there? What adjustments do I need to make? One of which is redo your vision sheet now. And where am I going? We've discussed what's working. And now you have a very definitive goal. Learn this track. All the tools within it, we are teaching you. If you know them all now, you are way ahead of the game, because you'll start to understand very quickly how your business will crystallize and simplify over time. All my peeps are here, and this is my focus. My peeps are here, and this is my focus. Engage here, engage here, and engage here. Guys, that's really all I've got. So we can make the rest of this time open discussion, or I can get you out of here earlier. Does not matter to me. I do have some announcements on the NAR buyer brokerage thing so that you all understand what's coming, because the next 3 weeks are going to be filled with training and coaching and mentoring on the 2 documents that have changed, and how we engage with them with buyers and how we engage with them with sellers. And Red One, I'm just going to say it here, and I was not paid to say this. Red One did a fantastic job with their changes to the listing contract, and a fantastic job with their evolution of the buyer's broker's exclusive agreement. Gina, I think you would agree with me. They're clear. They dovetail with each other really nicely. They mentioned the same categories on the buyer brokerage agreement as you mentioned on your listing contract. You will be able to put those 2 things together in your head very quickly. And we're going to train you to use them in so many different ways that you're going to have to love one of them. Every scenario that you could possibly think of, we will absolutely talk about it. Even those that will never happen, but you just like to project them into your life. We are so good at it. What about this? What about that? Well, what about this? What about, and I'm not disparaging it or making fun of it. We all do it. What if this happens? What if that happens? Well, what if it does? We'll tell you what.
Figure it out.
Yeah, we'll tell you what to say. Let's not cross too many bridges before we get to them. I'll end this part of the conversation with this. You've heard me say it. It's important for you to hear it again. This team should be, can't make you. You're self-employed. This team should be, when you're listing properties, explaining the expenses associated with a seller transferring their property to a buyer. When it comes to the commission piece of those expenses, this team should be encouraging their listing, selling clients to offer a buyer's agent's commission. That's allowed. It's lawful. And then they make the decision. Picture this perfect world. Every listing agent on August 17th and after says to their listing client, here are the 4 expenses. Let's just get right to the commission one. Our brokerage typically lists property for 6%. That's negotiable. And we'd like your permission to share that with the buyer brokers and their buyer's agents so that they are incentivized to bring buyers to your home. We'd like your permission to split that. It's negotiable. By the way, you don't have to pay a buyer's agent anything. It's on the listing contract. It's all split up for you. So it'll make perfect sense to your listing client when you say that. It's on there. Red One did a great job. You don't have to pay them anything. I would just advise you to allow our brokerage to incentivize the buyer brokerages and the buyer's agents out there by allowing us to split the commission that you and I agree to list your property. And that's negotiable. What would you like to do? Well, what's typical? 6%? Yeah, we'll just do that. How about we start to put that picture in our head rather than, well, what if they say this and what if they say that? Because they might. And if they do say that and they do give you permission to split it, you can assure yourself as a listing agent that every buyer's agent out there, because it's not going to be on the MLS anymore, will call you and they are legally allowed to ask you, are you paying a buyer's agent's commission? With your client's permission, because you're going to talk to them at the listing appointment and ask their permission to share the information. Yes, we are. How much? 3%. Have a good day. If it were a perfect world, every listing agent would explain it that way. It's the law. You don't have to offer it. It's negotiable. It's always been negotiable. You've never been required to pay it. What would you like to do? This is my advice. In a perfect world, there would not be a listing agent out there saying this. Well, when I list houses, because it's the law now, I encourage you not to pay the buyer brokerage any commission. What would you like to negotiate for our listing brokerage's commission? 3%? Okay, great. I'm happy. I don't give 2 shits about buyer's agents. In a perfect world, none of us will be talking that way. So that commission is not going to be on the MLS does not mean it's not going to exist. It means a couple extra phone calls to a listing agent asking them, does it exist? If so, how much is it? That's going to be part of our training. I was just practicing on you. All right. Any last minute questions about that? I'll show you what we're going to do for that. Justin already put the email out, and unlike normally, I saved it. Not because it came from Justin, but because I delete emails all the time. There's your NAR boot camps that are coming up. This one, you're all going to be invited to. It's the Tuesday evening that would normally be Justin's Zoom call with the AMP team. You're all going to be invited. Everybody on the team is going to be invited to this Zoom call. And then on Tuesday, August 6th, I will be going over it. See, I'm off. And then there's NAR changes on Thursday, August 8th. I'm going over it again. And then on August 13th, I'm going over it again with Sheila. Guys, we're going to shove this down your throats. You're going to know exactly what you should be doing. Any questions about that last minute? Easy to answer. Not what ifs. Save that for the training sessions.
I would just like to say that I'm kind of looking forward to the changes because I ran into a situation this week where they were only offering 2% to buyer's agents on the MLS.
Yeah.
And so in our current scenario, way things work, I'm kind of stuck with 2%. But if this was after August 17th, I would already have a buyer broker agreement signed with my buyer that says I get paid 3%. And it's to my buyer's best interest then to ask the seller to pay 3%, even though right now it says 2% in the MLS. So I would more than likely be able to get another $5,000 in commission on this particular deal I'm about to put in contract after August 17th. So I kind of wish it was already here, just from a matter of perspective, just so you're not dreading this. This has potential to be something we can look forward to as becoming more lucrative for us.
I absolutely love that. And let's put a really fine point on that. This is the way agents in many other states across our country have been performing, behaving, acting under these same laws for years. Years. George is one of them, and we're there. So I'm looking forward to it as well, Gina. I can't wait. Every time a big deal changes in real estate, everybody thinks it's going to be the bane of real estate, and then it all goes away and we all just go on our merry way. What are we focused on? I pray nobody says that. I hope everybody says this. That's what you're focused on, guys. Right there. Keep your head down, do your work, run your business, take care of your folks, be a great agent, be a great marketer of real estate services. Be better than good. Be great. Have fun with it. I don't think in going around the room asking folks what they're doing and what's working that anybody, I didn't see it on anybody's face that, yeah, this is working, but man, it's fun when it works. It's fun when you practice back-end marketing. It's magical. It's weird, weirdly magical. That's what we do here. If there's no other questions, no other things to talk about, let me check the chat real quick, make sure. Okay, Sheila has something to add, and then we'll get you out of here.
So we talked a lot about, we didn't talk much about expenses. And so now's a good time to look at what you've been spending money on in the first half.
I absolutely love that because it'll give me something to say.
And the other thing is, in my mind, the quarterly taxes were due in July because that makes sense after the end of and they were actually due in June.
Okay. So Sheila has a really good point that lights me up. So I'm going to try to shrink this. I really do want to get you guys out of here. Sheila said it's a really good thing. We talked about top line. Well, Sheila comes out of the corporate world, so let me interpret that for you. We talked about gross commissions. We didn't talk about expenses. So guys, look at your expenses. Ensure that what you are spending in real estate is giving you the ROI, return on investment, that you desire. If you're getting there on transactions and commissions, it's still wise to look at those expenses and ensure that the return on those are worth it. Is my geo farm working the way I thought it should? If not, do I adjust that budget? Now, if you've only been doing it for 2 or 3 months, do not do that, because you might have, should have, would have, could have put a budget together for 12 months for your geo farm. But let's dovetail that with something that I'm going to, I'm going to say this the correct way. If your expenses are associated with paying for leads, getting leads that are paid for by someone else, and as a result of that, your commission is significantly less than you would earn otherwise, you might want to look at that. That's the idea you gave me. You might want to look at that. Michelle Shriver did. She's still going to be on track for meeting her goal. She goes back and forth, now she does it herself. I mean, she pays for these, but she's really smart about budgeting her money. What's going to get her to her goal without overspending for that? So we should all be looking at expenses. Yes. You said something at the last. Oh, your quarterly taxes. Guys, it's important to not get yourself, especially as a new agent, into tax trouble. Engage with somebody that knows what they're doing and make sure you're paying your taxes quarterly as a self-employed person. Okay, make sure you're paying your taxes quarterly. You don't want the penalties and interest to add up. You say, well, I'll just pay them at the end of the year. Well, you've missed 3 quarters and they were due, and the IRS isn't going to forget about penalties and interest when you've got money due. So Sheila makes a good point. Engage with somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about. Or call Ken Fairchild and speak with him for 30 minutes or an hour and get his input. He'll talk with you. He's a genius when it comes to that stuff. He encourages everybody to be on their own program and have software that figures it out for you, but you may want to engage with a professional. I have a CPA. I don't want to deal with that stuff. Okay. That was not a black pill, was it? Anything else? Anything?
I'm sorry. Oh, this is Michelle. I just wanted to dovetail on the whole tax thing. If you don't already have a CPA, make sure you investigate who you use, because even if they seem to be some extreme professional, maybe they've written books, does not mean that they will not screw up your taxes. I currently have a tax bill from 2021. Yeah, so just make sure you do a little follow up and even double check them yourself. Even if you're not sure what you're looking at, you would then maybe be able to see if there is an issue. That's all I got to say on that, but just be careful.
Thank you, Michelle. Let's finish this on a high note. Anything else? Okay, I'll finish it on a high note. You guys are producing an average of $1.3 million in your first year. You guys are growing that $1.3 million in your second year by 153%. Do the math. Let's call it 3 transactions. That'd be 8 in your second year. You're growing that again by 43%. That'd be 11. That's the track you're on. You engage with this track, I think you can beat those numbers. And we're going to hold you accountable for just that. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for being here. Bye.